Retro Rob plays everything.
Hey, Rob here, and welcome to my unboxing of the Atari Flashback Portable, Ultimate Classic Portable Player. I gotta tell you the truth, I didn't think this was a real product. The first time I saw it, I thought it looked like a mock-up, and I did ask some questions about it. The device looks just like the Sega Genesis Firecore handheld player, and also has an SD card reader just like that. So I really assumed it was just a mock-up, and this wasn't going to be a real thing. But I assure you, this is a real thing. I also thought Frogger being on the cover was kind of a weird thing because Parker Brothers made Frogger, and it wasn't an actual Atari game. So, weird. I mean, it was on the Atari 2600, obviously, but it wasn't an Atari game. So anyway, yeah, thought this was fake. Didn't think this was going to be a real thing. I kept an open mind and saw it. By the way, I loved the Genesis Firecore Portable. And this is right in line with it. I got this one for $32 at Bed Bath & Beyond, thanks to the Retro Gaming Facebook group, which I will link down below. They were mentioning how they used a coupon. It's regularly $40 there, which is $10 less than everybody else. And then they have a 20% off coupon, which gets it down to $32, which makes it very affordable. Alright, let's start the unboxing instead of talking about it. Here is the front of the box. Classic hit titles included. So sorry, this is blurry. There we go. There we go. Okay. Side of the box. I've already got this thing busted open. It has tape. I haven't actually started the thing up or anything. There we go. It does have like a circular tape that seals it. Other side, and other end. Portable game player, instruction manual, USB charging cable, and rechargeable battery. You see that? I'll show you what it's not including in a bit, which I'm kind of disappointed about. And on the back you can see all the games that are available for it. A lot of weird choices here. There's actually some cool stuff, and we'll see how that goes. Alright. In the box, one Atari Flashback Portable Manual. It actually does have instructions for every game. It also has a nice diagram showing you the parts of the game. It does have an AV out, however they don't include the cable with the AV out, so you'll have to use an AV out from another device or get one from Radio Shack or something, or eBay or Amazon, if you're into not paying a ridiculous amount for it. Yeah, it does appear that there are indeed instructions for every game. That's very nice. Thanks, AtGames. Not a huge AtGames fan. They're not terrible, though. They're not the worst. Not the best, either. Just kind of in the middle. Let's look real quick. There's the USB. Mini USB, not micro. It tells me that they probably did use the AtGames shell. I wish I had, I'm sorry, the Genesis shell. I wish I had my Genesis. There we go, it powers right up. Has built-in battery, rechargeable battery, so you just plug it in to recharge it. Let's look on the top here. You can see that there is an AV out. I just talked about. Aforementioned USB. Regular SD card port, I like that. Volume control. Headphone jack, see, separate headphone jack. On off button, you can see the side. Looks a lot like, as I said, there's a menu button here, a start button here. There's T, it says TLP ARS. I'm gonna guess this is for setting the difficulty levels. Hey, Future Rob here. When I shot this video, I really didn't know what the buttons did, so I kind of glossed over them. And I'd like to set the record straight as to what they do. Let's start with the A button, which is, of course, the fire button. The T button switches between color and black and white modes on the VCS. The R button, that sets the difficulty from hard to easy for player 2. Left button does it for player 1. as you can see. The S button is the select button, so you can select different games. Up here is the start and reset button, so you hit start to start a game. P right here pauses the game system. And of course, if you hit this button right here, you go back to the main menu. And those are your buttons. And we'll just get it real close so you can kind of see. There's not actually light leak. I know it looks like there's light leak. There isn't. That's probably from... Here, wait. Let's see if we can turn this down and reduce that. Even at an angle, I don't see the light leak, even though it shows it on here. It's weird. It's something from the camera. There we go. Nice and loud. And there's asteroids. And it's blurry, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to plug this AV feed in and show you a few of the games on it. As far as construction goes, before I start this, let's look at the construction of this thing. There's the off switch. Yeah, it has a decent weighty feel to it. The plastics are very solid. Not cheap plastic, I'll tell you that. The buttons are a little chintz. They're definitely not like Famiclone cheap, but they don't feel super OEM, but they're small enough so that it doesn't really seem to matter. The D-pad is okay. It's a serviceable D-pad. If you look, see how the edges rise up? That makes it so your thumb stays on it a little bit better. It has a good feel. The screen looks great. I'm sorry you can't really see how good the screen is. I'll try and stitch in a picture of the screen, but it's got a very bright, very nice screen, and what you were seeing through the video really wasn't an accurate reproduction of the screen at all. So yeah, like this part. Alright, let's fire up some games, show you what's inside it. Hey, just a real quick note on something I noticed while I was setting up for the next video. Of course, I wanted to show you that they have SD reading capabilities here, and you can drop your ROMs for the Atari 2600 on an SD card and pop them in here. Note, this goes in upside down. It does not go in. I was really expecting it to go this way, and it didn't offer me any resistance the first time I did it. Yeah, see? Look at it. It just lets me slide it in wrong. I didn't figure it out till it was pretty far in there that it was being put in wrong. So just make sure when you're putting in your SD card, you're putting it in upside down, not right side up. Alright, I will probably mention SD card specs, what it can read and what it can't read. This is SDHC. We'll see if it can read it. Don't know that yet, but we'll see, and I'll let you know. Alright, back to it. Okay, so here I am on the main menu of the Atari Flashback console. Pressing right or left will page to the next page of games. So to get to, say, the second row, I've got to press up or down. If you think about it, though, that's really not that bad because it really helps you page through the games really fast. The games are a collection of first-party games, third-party games, and some homebrew stuff. I think there's a couple never released games in here, as I recall. But my Atari is a little rusty. I've been playing real Atari. I've been playing my 7800, but I haven't really been submersed in the Atari 2600 lore in a while. But this is a pretty decent collection. I wouldn't call it super strong, but it's not terrible. I love bowling, by the way. This is a good game. I like the M Network games, which are Intellivision games, really. I remember this about Astro Blast, too, so it must recreate them pretty accurately. I remember the controls being a bastard on this, and they sure are. It's just a little bit too fast. It was made for the disc originally that was on the Intellivision, and you can kind of tell. It's just kind of, you know, overplayed. But that was a problem anyway in the original. Another nice thing about it is if I do press the menu button, it'll go back to where I was in the menu. That'll be useful in a minute. Feel free to look through the games that are available. There's Desert Falcon. There's some stuff that came out later. There's some of the earliest stuff. The Fire World, the Water Worlds, all those games, I don't really think that much of. I didn't really like them when they came out. I don't really like them here. But, of course, you're going to point out that it really doesn't matter. Oh, by the way, you'll notice one more thing. Sorry. Let's go with something that... here we go. Would have used a paddle. Paddle games control with the joystick in this, obviously. And let's start. And they're not terrible, but you know, it's not a paddle. So you do lose some of the fine control. Pong is the place where it's, you know, you can really feel the pain. But it's not terrible. It's just not. I don't know why they choose to do this. Warlords would be fine. I don't even know if it has Warlords, but you can always put it on there. Let's go to main menu. Another thing I'd like to show you. Yeah, see, Tempest was never released. It's just an interesting choice. Where is it? Not Space Attack. Not Star Strike. Where is it? I love doing this like right on a recording. Trying to look for a game. It's called Warp something, I think. Is it? I know it's on here. I know the game is on here somewhere. I know what you're saying. Oh, here it is. Stellar Track. Stellar Track's on here, which is really interesting because this is a text-based game. I can't remember exactly how to play it. It's very reminiscent of some computer games that were out at the time. I'm gonna have to look at the manual for it, which is indeed included in here. It is a wonderful game that I spent a whole lot of time with, and I'm kind of sad that I don't remember exactly how to play it. When I started it, I thought, yeah, I'll remember exactly how I used to play it, but I didn't. But it's worth checking out. It's something to check out on there, and it's something you don't see in many collections. And there's a lot of games that don't show up in a lot of collections here, and I think that's a nice thing. So, as far as the collection goes, it's okay. It's not, you know, it's not the greatest collection, but it's not bad, and it doesn't really matter because you can use an SD card. On the topic of an SD card, some notes about using an SD card. Gee, if only they had documented it, you know, like on the second page, it would have saved me a lot of time. All right, fine. Maybe if I would have read the second page, it would have saved me a lot of time. But in case you get one without a manual, here's some things to know. 8 gig maximum on the card. Doesn't matter. You can store every Atari 2600 game like in way less than a gig, so not a problem. In fact, I think I've got an old 256 meg card that I had laying around. It's got pretty much every Atari game on it. Another note about it is that you have to put it in a folder named game. So you drop the binary files directly in a folder named game. It's okay to be all caps or capital G and lowercase a-m-e. But apparently it doesn't recognize all lowercase g-a-m-e. So remember, all caps. Just do all caps, for goodness sake, on the game folder. So, and put all the ROMs off of that. Alright. Let's go. Here's something interesting too. I don't know why it does this. It's got this little... That's a hidden file. But I think it's from my Mac, so you might not run into that. I use the Mac because it's the only thing I got laying around with an old SD card reader on it. So that might be a side effect of that. You should be able to go into any Linux box and delete those little dot files, because what that means is it's hidden, and I just couldn't see it on my Mac. So although I did do a list all, and it still didn't list it, so I don't know what's going on with that. But sometimes the Mac acts funny in its Linux-like environment. It's kind of a nerdy thing, but you'll likely not see these little dot things. If you do, let me know. I'm just kind of curious. So one thing is, so far as I can tell, it does not run any Supercharger games. So if I wanted to play a Supercharger game, I would be SOL. Looking for a Supercharger game? Oh, wait, oh, Hero. Play Hero for a second. Things run really remarkably well off of it. You know, that's not to be surprised that the Atari. It's not like the Atari 2600 is a powerhouse or anything. There we go. One thing I do forget is that is that there's only one button on the Atari 2600. So I keep pressing the other buttons that are near it, and it causes me nothing but pain. Look at, I saved them. That's awesome. Okay, now if I hit the menu though, here's one thing. See, I go back to the SD card browser. I don't go back to the page I was on in the SD card browser, which is kind of a pain. But this does work exactly the same way. Jump right and left for a new tab, and up and down selects. It just has one. Here we go. Communist Mutants. Let's see if Communist Mutants from space. And see, you get nothing. So no Supercharger games, I'm afraid. None at all. Should we play the Barons Day Bears? Combat. Demon Attack. That's some good stuff right there. As far as the controls go, you know, D-pads are okay for controlling most Atari 2600 games. You know, even the Atari 7800 had a gamepad for it if you were in Europe. It's pretty responsive. The if you can hear that, sorry, I just thunked it. If you can hear that, that makes a, you know, it makes a bit of a noise when you're pressing it, but it doesn't feel cheap at all. You know, pretty good. It's not bad. It's a great little handheld. I mean, what are you going to put? A regular Atari 2600 joystick on there? No, you're not going to do it. But it does control pretty well, and it does turn off the screen, by the way. And it does put out to a TV if you have the cable. So, all in all, boy, have I been rambling on in this video. Sorry about that. All in all, I think it's a pretty good unit. I have a hard time with the $50 asking price. I'm okay with the $32 that I paid for it. I think around 30s, right? I think it would have been very nice if they would have included the video output cable. That's kind of a big deal, and it's something not everybody has laying around their house. And it's a big deal for this to be able to put out to put out. It's a great thing for this to be able to put out to a TV. And you'd be able to play it on your television, so I don't know why they wouldn't have included that cable. And I know it's not just mine because other people have mentioned that as well. So that's a big deal. Construction quality is pretty good, as to be expected. It's basically the Genesis Fire Core frame. It has a nice weight, a decent heft to it. The plastics are very solid and feel like they last a long time. Emulation is, so far as I can tell, really good. It's not 100%. They do warn you on the system itself that there are some games that don't work on it. I haven't found any that haven't worked except for the Supercharger games, which is to be expected, although it would have been a nice little bonus if they would have allowed you to load them. The collection of games that come with it are kind of iffy. But that said, I mean, it doesn't have the original Yar's Revenge. It's got like Yar's Revenge homebrew on it. But you know, you can add whatever you want through an SD card, and it has a very nice manual that does indeed tell you the things you need to know about the system. So, yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up. I think for around 35 bucks, it's a pretty good deal. Nice little device. I like the fact that it charges through USB like everything else these days. So yeah, go ahead. Seal of approval, kinda. I will see you next time. We're going to be talking some GPD XD real soon and a little bit of GPD Win as well. Also, I will be revisiting my project on the Pico 8. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more.
Retro Rocks Gaming Videos.